Welcome to Justice for, a true crime podcast hosted by two besties from Colorado. We're focused on bringing justice to the victims by telling their stories. New episodes release every single Tuesday, so make sure to hit that subscribe button and the follow button anywhere that you can find us, and you'll get updates on all of our new episodes.
Just a warning, this podcast does contain adult language and adult themes, such as assault and abuse of varying forms, so please listen and watch with discretion. Hey y'all, and welcome back to Justice For. We're your hosts. I'm Jackie.
And I'm Sam.
Okay, so, unless you're driving, I want you all to close your eyes.
Okay.
And we're going to set the scene.
I'm setting
Okay?
You said it.
I'm going to set the scene.
Okay.
It is March of 2011. You're in Bethesda, Maryland, an upscale suburb of Washington, D.C. Apple has just released the second generation iPad. So you head down to Bethesda Row, a super cute little outdoor mall with luxury condos right above it. And honestly, it kind of sounds like the dream living situation, like vacation Starbucks in the hotel lobby. So anyway, while you're out front of this store, waiting to open, you notice a woman in total distress on the phone with 911, reporting a break-in at the Lululemon store next door. It sounds like a scene out of a movie, right? Unfortunately, this isn't a movie.
Can I open my eyes?
You can't open your eyes. It's the tragic and brutal death of Jayna Murray. You may also know this as the Lululemon murder.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard of the Lululemon murder?
I do know about this. It's
right.
been a minute since I've heard it, though. Like, did any type of research, anything like that. So,
yeah, and it's just kind of recently popped back up
Yeah.
here and there in headlines. I kind of followed this one. You followed it when it happened, and you'll understand why. And then after that, we all just kind of like, don't trust your coworkers. And then, yeah. So, on the morning of March 12th, 2011, Rachel, the manager of the Lululemon store on Bethesda Row, she was scheduled to open the store, and when she got there, she found the door unlocked, thinking someone had arrived earlier than her and just forgot to lock it behind them while they started opening. And she quickly realized that's not what was happening. There was mannequins thrown about, there was clothing thrown about, the registers were open, and as she started to walk a little further in the store, she could hear a moaning sound in the back. So homegirl noped right the fuck out.
Okay.
And called 911. Which is where you guys started in the story. Standing outside with Rachel, the manager, on the phone, calling 911. Ryan, who was standing in line at the Apple store, noticed her and asked, "Can I help you?" And she said, "Yes, I think someone's broken the store. I heard some moaning. I'm really scared to go in there." And he goes, "Well, I'll come in." So he goes back in with her. Brave ass man. Like, I'm sorry. We're waiting for cops. So he actually walks into the store all the way to the back. And as he's walking through the store and he gets to the back in the storage room, he finds 30-year-old Jayna Murray on the floor, and she is deceased. And he realizes this. It is very obvious that she is no longer alive. So he turns around to head back out to let Rachel know to call for Rachel to call 911 again because somebody has died. But before he can even call out to her, he hears that moaning sound. And he goes to open this door. It's the bathroom door, and he kind of has to push against it a little bit, and he gets it open, and he sees Brittany Norwood laying on the ground, tied up, with her hands above her head and a shirt tied around her neck. So he screams out to Rachel to call 911 again. Somebody is dead, and somebody is hurt, but alive.
I have questions.
Yes.
Maybe you'll explain this to me later, and if you are going to, just let me know.
Okay.
Was her hands and the shirt tied around her tied to something?
No.
Including her hands?
Yes.
And how the fuck were they above her head?
We'll get there. Just this position, hands above her head zip tied, feet are zip tied in front of her. She's laying on her back. She has a shirt tied tightly around her neck. She is cut up with cuts all over her, and she has a wound on her forehead.
Okay.
So Jayna was laying face down, covered in blood
Mm-hmm.
in the storeroom, and Brittany is tied up, unconscious but alive,
Mm-hmm.
and moaning. So, when the police arrived on the scene, they were completely shocked at how violent the crime scene was. This was not what they thought they were getting called out to. There was blood sprayed 6 feet up the wall. Clothes and mannequins were all over the store. There was bloody footprints everywhere, bloody handprints on the back exit door, and all the registers were open as well as the safes. There was money missing, there was broken glass everywhere, things are thrown everywhere. It looks like just ransacked.
Mm-hmm.
There were clumps of blonde hair throughout the store. There was a trail of blood that led to police where Jayna was laying face down in a pool of blood with a toolbox that just seemed to be dropped on top of her. Like a final little fuck you.
Oh.
And the police then followed more of the blood back into the bathroom, and that's where they found Brittany. And like I said, she was laying on her back, hands zip tied above her head, wound on her forehead, cuts all over her. She appeared to be unresponsive, so they loaded her into a stretcher and sent her straight to the hospital.
Okay.
So, before we go any further, I want to tell you who Jayna and Brittany are.
Okay.
So, Jayna Murray grew up in Texas with her mom and her dad and her older brother. She loved animals and being in nature. She was incredibly adventurous. She had actually just gone bungee jumping for her 30th birthday, like the month before. And she loved hiking and dancing and traveling, outdoor sports, very athletic, very everything.
Like active.
Yes.
An active person.
She had actually traveled to every continent except for Antarctica. That was the last on her list to check off for continents. She volunteered with several local organizations. She was very active with volunteering in the community and giving back. So Jayna had left Texas after high school to attend St. Louis University in Madrid, Spain.
Mm.
Right? I didn't know that you could do that, but it was a program out there through the school.
Like a
Study abroad. Yeah, like a study abroad things were in college.
Yeah.
So she did 2 years out there. And then after that, she moved to the DC area to finish her bachelor's degree at George Washington University. And that's when she started working at Lululemon. And she immediately fell in love with the company. Just everything about it. When she graduated from George Washington University in 2003, she had a degree in international marketing and business, and she went on to Johns Hopkins to do a master's of arts in public and media relations in 2009. And with all of that, she went to currently get her master's for everything. Sorry, master's of business of administration. And all of this was centered around the Lululemon business model. Like, she fell in love with this company so much that her thesis was on it, like her final paper. She was applying to work at the corporate level for Lululemon. Like, she loved the company to the core, everything they represented, the athletic part of it. Like, she loved this place. She had become a manager there, like a supervisor. Rachel was the main one. And Lululemon was just her life. Everyone loved her. She was friends with everybody. She traveled and loved her job. Jayna was just loved by everyone. All of her coworkers said that she was an instant friend. Everybody loved her. There wasn't anybody who didn't like her. And just all around, like, the person you wanted to be around.
Mm-hmm.
Brittany grew up 20 miles south of Seattle, Washington. And her parents owned an industrial furniture and upholstery business. And she's one of 9 children.
Jeez.
So her parents didn't have a lot of money growing up, but they still were very adamant about their kids getting to pursue their dreams and do everything they wanted, to the point where
They had 9 damn children.
yes. And Brittany played competitive soccer starting at a young age. Her other siblings also were very involved in all the things. Their parents, they worked a lot. They didn't have a lot of money, but the community did say the one thing that they did was made sure their kids did what they wanted to do.
Good.
And she was an incredible soccer player. Like, she was very, very fierce on the field,
Mm-hmm.
but off the field, she was described as mild-mannered, and she had top-notch grades.
Okay.
She played on travel leagues in high school, and she was so good that she had multiple offers for scholarships for colleges. There was a lot of colleges that wanted her. She ended up landing on Stony Brook University in New York, and she quickly became a star player on the field. And off the field, she always had a smile on her face. She became friends with absolutely everyone. Everyone loved her. But her teammates started noticing there's stuff going missing. You know, an expensive perfume Brittany had complimented, now missing from that locker. Money out of a wallet, things from other players' lockers, and it was quickly new teammates were told to watch their stuff and don't bring anything of value and don't let Brittany know.
Interesting.
And players were even telling the coach about this, but Brittany was a star player, so she just kind of turned her head the other way. Eventually, Brittany would get kicked out of Stony Brook. And that's when she ends up in DC.
Do you know why she got kicked out?
It was to do with the stealing, but not from the coach. It was like the university did it. The coach wasn't really in it. It was like the players went that way.
Okay.
So, and also in that, there was a time that Brittany went to go get her hair done at the salon. And after she was done, she got a whole ass week put in. Like, we spent hours in this shit. And at the end, she was like, oh my God, somebody stole the money out of my wallet in my purse. And it was like $1,000 to pay for it. And so the stylist was like freaking out because it happened in her salon. And, you know, Brittany had left her purse at the reception area while she had her hair done the whole time. And so she felt bad. And so Brittany was like, I swear I'll pay you back, blah, blah. And then a few weeks later called and like never did it. So we have a little patterning here.
Wow.
Yes. So after all this, she ends up in DC because she has some sisters who live out there. And in 2007, she got a job at the Willard Intercontinental Luxury Hotel. It's near the White House, and she soon began managing VIP guests.
Oh, no.
You see where this is going a little bit? And although everybody who worked with her said that she was so upbeat, she was the team player, the star player, she kept everybody happy, she wouldn't let anybody get down about anything, and she was really good at the VIP guests and managing in all their needs. She did suddenly leave that job, and the hotel will not comment on why. So we'll just throw some connections there if you want to. But while she was at the hotel, she had decided that she really wanted to pursue her passion of physical training and personal training that she got from soccer and all of that. And so she was wanting, her big dream goal was to open her own gym one day. But she decided that she would start smaller and try to become a personal trainer and was applying at all these gyms and things. But in the meantime, she figured a job at Lululemon in Georgetown would be a great time. And so she got hired at that Lululemon and then got fired for misusing her employee discount. She was using it for more than she was allowed to. So then she ended up at the Bethesda Lululemon because they hired her even after that. And that's how she ended up there. And she had only been at Lululemon for like 3 weeks when this incident occurred. So her and Jayna they were just coworkers.
Yeah.
They didn't really talk to each other. They didn't hang out. Like, they didn't even have each other's phone number.
Okay. They weren't besties?
No.
They weren't ride or dies?
They were not ride or dies. Not actual ride or dies. So, back to Saturday morning.
Yeah.
Brittany has been loaded up in the ambulance and is on her way to the hospital.
Okay.
So, when Brittany arrives at the hospital, Officer O'Brien, he was a police officer who worked at the hospital, just like, part-time. He's just there to take all the intake stuff. He noted that she had an injury to her forehead and cuts to her arms, chest, and legs, and about a 1 to 2 inch cut on her palm.
Okay.
And Officer O'Brien said that based on his years of experience, it looked like the same injury that occurs when a hand slips down on a knife while stabbing someone. There were no scratches or injuries to her back, her neck, or her extremities. Remember, she was found laying tied up on her back.
So only her upper torso had injuries.
On the front.
Yeah.
So, and there's no evidence of a sexual assault.
Okay.
So around 10:30 that morning, Detective Mackey from the Montgomery County Police Department went to the hospital to talk to Brittany.
Mm-hmm.
For the very first time, this is the first account of the story.
Yeah.
And they will talk to her multiple times over this next week. So, in Brittany's initial interview, she told the detectives what happened. She said the previous night, Brittany and Jayna had closed up the store and went separate ways home. Brittany realized that she had left her wallet in the store and it had her Metro Pass in it, and she needed that to get home. So
Why is she always leaving her shit places?
I don't know why she's always leaving her shit
Get your
places.
shit together, woman.
So Brittany called another coworker to get Jayna's phone number
Mm.
so she could ask to be let back in the store. So around 10 p.m., Jayna and Brittany meet back at the store and they go inside to get her wallet. Hold on. Brittany was struggling to find her wallet, so Jayna even offered to let her use her Metro Pass instead, since she had driven to work that day and didn't need it. So Brittany said that they must have forgotten to lock the door behind them.
Mm-hmm.
And two men came into the store dressed in all black wearing ski masks. One was about 6 foot and the other was shorter, like 5'6". And she said they sounded like white guys in their 20s. As Brittany and Jayna were leaving the store, Jayna was walking slightly in front of Brittany when a man attacked Jayna. She said Jayna instantly started fighting back. Brittany tried to turn and go for the back exit so the alarm would sound. Remember that door they found bloody handprints on? But instead, she was attacked by the other man. She said she could hear Jayna screaming and being attacked, and she watched as they dragged Jayna to the back. One of the men took Brittany to the register and had her empty the safes and the cash. And then he started to attack Brittany, just beating her with random objects and cutting her, and she could hear what she thought was the men torturing and beating Jayna as well. Then she noticed her screams were getting softer and further apart until she heard nothing. Then the men took her to the bathroom where they tied her up, sexually assaulted her with a hanger, all while yelling racial slurs and calling her a whore. And the men then left her tied up in the bathroom, told her that she got to live because she was fun to fuck. Then she passed out until the police arrived. She then looked at the officer and asked how her friend was doing. Yes. So, like, terrifying, right?
Yeah.
Terrifying. Absolutely.
Sorry, my mind is still.
On
I'm piecing.
they're Caucasian men in their 20s based off their voice alone.
That's part of it. Because my mind instantly went to, like, college kids who I see now, like, oh, that's just cap. You're mid. The Riz.
She said it was because of how they were talking.
Is Riz short for authorization?
Riz
Because
is
you don't
short for
have my
cream.
approval.
Oh my
I don't
God.
understand things. But also, the hanger, you were fun to fuck, but she never said them.
Yeah, but
Doing-
remember,
And then there
her
was
sexual assault
there was no
came back as
sexual assault.
nothing.
Yeah.
Her exam came back as nothing.
Okay.
So, meanwhile, so I need you guys to know, like, this is Saturday morning, okay? So
Yeah.
we are, like, Rachel got to the store at 8 a.m. Like,
Oh, and her friend.
this
God.
interview, yeah, how's my friend
Be
doing?
so fucking.
This interview
friendly
is happening at 10:30.
Yeah.
The police are processing that whole ass crime scene back there and getting Jayna moved out and everything while this is happening over here. Like,
Yeah.
there's so much that happens on Saturday. These cops were not messing around. So, meanwhile, the police were back at the store and they're trying to piece together what appeared to be a random robbery turned brutal murder and attack.
Mm-hmm.
Because what else could this be? And the store looked like a scene out of a horror movie. Blood sprayed halfway up the walls, bloody footprints everywhere, two different shoe sizes, one a size 14, and one about a 6.5 or a 7. Which makes sense for Brittany's account of the attack.
Not all people who are short have tiny feet, for one.
I know.
I got big ass feet and I'm short. I'm built
Yeah.
different. But I need to point something out really quick. Something else I thought about. As someone who has been a manager of multiple places that have cash registers and things like that,
Mhm.
there's never cash left in drawers ever after
No.
a store is closed. And most of the time, like, after you open and close a safe, most safes don't let you reopen anything
Yeah.
for like minimum an hour.
Yeah.
So
We're also in 2011. So we'll get
technology
there.
is still good.
We'll get there. But yes, those are all very...
I have
Yeah.
another question.
Yes.
Are there cameras?
We're about to get there.
Thank God.
You're not going to be happy, but we're about to get there.
Oh,
So, clothes and mannequins were thrown around, money was taken out of the safe, there was blood all over the handle of the back emergency exit door, and the key was still left in it. You see, this is one of those doors where if you put your key in it, you could open it without the alarm going off. Because, you know, you could take trash out or leave out the back door or whatever. So, the key is still in that door with so the alarm doesn't sound. And there was a trail of blood leading to the back, and they found multiple items that appeared to be used in the attack. They found a hammer, wrench, box cutters, zip ties, a knife from the little kitchen that they had in the back for the break room employees, merchandise pegs, and a rope. By merchandise pegs, like, you know the things that all the stuff hangs on at the store? Those are really easy. They just kind of like hook in and like hook out. They're super easy, take in and out. And Jayna was found in the hallway leading to the back emergency door. And she was found face down, covered in blood, laying in a pool of blood, with that toolbox dropped on top of her. And that toolbox belonged to the store. And once they got her rolled over and saw the full extent of her injuries, they could not believe they were even looking at a human. It was that bad. And her autopsy would reveal that it was so much worse than what they could even see. I'm sorry if you're eating.
Don't eat. Just don't eat for a second.
She was stabbed and beaten with multiple different weapons, causing 331 individual injuries. 105 of those wounds were defensive. Our girl fought hard, guys. So hard. Her skull was crushed and her spinal cord was severed. Her injuries were mainly to her head, face, neck, back, and extremities. According to medical examiner Mary Ripple, Jayna was alive for all 331 of her injuries. She had signs of bruising and bleeding around the wounds, but it was the final stab to the back of her neck that killed her. There was also a ligature mark around her neck consistent with a rope, and there were fibers found on her neck that matched a rope that was in the store. She had 6 blunt force injuries to her head in addition to the one that crushed her skull, stab wounds to her shoulder, 1 to her lower back, and 2 to the back of her head. She concluded that there was 5 different weapons used to cause all of the different injuries. Those 5 weapons were what I listed above.
I need you to be so fucking for real with me right now. 334?
331.
Oh.
And there is probably closer to 500 because they found some that were on top of each other. So some of those only got counted as one where there could have been 2 or 3 in the same spot. And most of that was to her face and her head. You have to think, you don't have a lot of surface area. Like, I'm pretty sure that this is the definition of overkill. Like, if
this is past a crime
yeah,
of passion.
like, yeah, we are past overkill, everything. It is like brutal. They could not, they were trying to figure out how this happened.
Yeah.
Like, who hated Jayna so much but was willing to leave Brittany alive?
Yeah.
And so the police's next question was, so how could this incredibly violent attack have happened without anyone hearing or seeing it? Well, it turns out someone did hear it. They heard it all happen. They just had no idea what they were listening to. They had no idea they were listening to someone being murdered. So remember when we talked about the new iPad 2 coming out?
Yes.
So it actually released on the 11th, so Friday. But like, we're back in 2011 where we can't order everything online and get it. You still had to go like wait in line at store. So like the second day iPad release, people are still waiting for the store to open. But so since they had the release the day before, employees were there late because finishing up all their stuff, getting ready for the next day. And a little bit after 10 p.m., some of the employees started to hear some noises coming from Lululemon because they shared a wall. And at first, they heard some like dragging noises and some grunting and like some thudding. And if I worked next to a retail place, I would think we're moving fixtures around or mannequins fell over. That's understandable a little bit. But then they started to hear some high pitched squealing. And one of the employees told her manager about it because she's like, it's getting really loud. And so there's actual footage from inside of an employee and the manager putting their ear against the wall and listening multiple times. And at one point, the employee just kept hearing screams, and they heard a female voice that sounded hysterical. And then another female voice saying, "Talk to me. Don't do this. Talk to me. What's going on?" And then more screaming and yelling and yelps. And then finally, a female voice saying, "God help me. Please help me." But she said that the voice that yelled, "God help me," was not the same voice that was yelling, "Talk to me. Please don't do this." And that employee left the Apple store shortly after 11 o'clock.
My fucking nosy ass. I wouldn't have just been listening. My ass would have gone over there.
Oh.
Why would you not do something?
So there's a security guard that works at the shopping center. Yeah. And I have heard two different versions of this.
Okay.
So one is he had his headphones in and was just like walking around. And since the store was still dark, there wasn't lights on and stuff. He couldn't hear anything as he was walking. And I mean, you're outside the store. I mean, you probably hear some things, but the other one is that one of the Apple employees told the security guard about it. But regardless, the security guard never does anything with it or anything. So I don't know if he actually got told it, because I only heard the Apple employee telling the security guard in like one little thing somewhere. The other one where the security guard had his headphones in and just didn't know anything was happening, that's the one I see a lot more.
Regardless of all of that, you hear all of this happening.
And you don't think...
Like, there's a time and place to mind your own fucking business. That was not one of them.
No, not one of them. See something, do something. Hear something, say something.
That's literally the last line in my next story.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
So ride or die.
Ride or die. So, as I'm sure you've guessed, the Lululemon store didn't have cameras.
Did
not.
How the fuck does a Lululemon store not?
2011.
Okay, your yoga pants are $100. How do you not have cameras?
Valid. So, but there were cameras in the shopping center, but none that showed the front of the Lululemon store.
I hate this place.
I do too. However, a camera did pick up two men walking past the Apple store and out of frame in the direction of the Lululemon.
Oh.
And they were dressed in all black with their hoods up. And so this is still Saturday. We are still on Saturday, okay? And Saturday, the police have gone to the Apple store. They've gotten all this information. We have Brittany's account of the two men. We have the security footage. So the police track these two guys down. And it's not hard because they're dishwashers at a restaurant down the street. And what do dishwashers wear? All black. And I'm sorry, I'm married to my husband. I met him while he was cooking and dishing. Yeah. And that man used to leave work with his hood up, his hands in his pocket, and walk his ass home because he didn't have a car when I met him. But he had two jobs.
Please stop dating
men with no cars. Mine was an exception.
Please stop dating cooks if you also work in a restaurant.
Yes, please don't do that.
They don't.
So they find these two guys, and turns out they're dishwashers. Yeah. They both walk home that night together, and they wear all black because of their job, and they have their hoods up.
And they most likely had backpacks.
No, that's not even a part of this.
I know, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
They
probably yeah, because they probably did. But yeah, so
and they all have the same damn backpack too.
And they cleared them because
Good.
they could go back and find other footage of them walking home, and this is how they do that. And so, yeah.
Wonderful.
And next, the police were tasked with finding Jayna's car because we knew she drove it, and Rachel knew where she parked it, but it wasn't there. So it had Texas license plates still, so it's not going to be hard. Because remember, she was in Texas and she went to college and stuff. So the first time she has her car back in DC, she still has Texas plates on it.
Okay.
So her car is found 3 blocks away in a parking lot.
What is this girl's name?
Jayna.
Other girl.
Brittany.
Who's Rachel?
Rachel's the manager.
Thank you.
So, and also the reason that Rachel knows where Jayna parks her car is because Rachel lives right across the street from Lululemon. So when she leaves, she has to walk right past where Jayna always parks her car at.
Uh-huh.
And that's also how they know like what car they're looking for immediately.
Mm-hmm.
So when her car is found in a parking lot 3 blocks away, they go through her car and find a hat with fresh blood stain like on the inside, like right where your forehead sits. And they found they collected fingerprints and there's other blood in the car, and so they just collected all of it. And we're like, okay, let's see what's happening in here. And so on the 14th, they go back to speak with Brittany again, but this time at her house. And it's very casual. It's in the living room because Brittany's a victim.
You're right.
And so she recalls the attack from the previous evening, including the assault. She added how, but this time she added that she was thrown on Jayna's body at one point. And she stated she was scared that her attackers were going to come and find her because they told her they knew where she lived. She thought they may have looked through her purse and found her bills. And so her and her family were terrified that these men were going to come and find her and track her down. And during that interview, Brittany was described as coherent and cooperative. But it was after this interview that investigators were starting to question Brittany's version of events. Because up until now, she was being seen as a victim and treated that way. But they had already cleared 2 men walking by, and they had just finished investigating a homeless man who came into a very, very nearby hospital, like blocks away, covered in bloody clothes, like in the hours after Jayna was murdered. But he wasn't connected to her at all. They tested it, and he had gotten into a fight. He was known to get into fights and be doing some stuff. So they were like, the cops were, the hospital was like, hey, we've already had Brittany in here and this guy's here. So they connected it all. And they were getting samples back from the car, like the DNA, and they were finally getting the preliminary stuff of that. And it was turning out to be Brittany's blood in Jayna's car. And Jayna's. But mainly Brittany's blood. And inside that hat, it was all Brittany's blood. The front of that hat. Not Jayna. In Jayna's car, it's mostly Brittany's blood. On the inside of the hat, on other surfaces, but the smeared is Jayna's blood. So we have a mix of them. So the police called Brittany back into the station on March 16th. We are now 4 days after the attack was found. And they told her to come in because they needed DNA samples and fingerprints to compare to the store to rule her out. And she was like, okay, I can do that. And so, of course, they start questioning her again, and they just kind of slide in near the end. Do you know what kind of car Jayna drives? No, I don't. I've never been in her car. I've never seen it. I don't know. And they said, okay, and let her go. Well, then they discovered everything really does come back as being nothing but Brittany's fingerprints and blood in the car. So the day after that interview, Brittany's siblings called the police and they said, hey, Brittany wants to talk to you guys again. She's been withholding information because she was afraid attackers were going to harm her. So on March 18th, Brittany, accompanied by her brother and sister, went in for another interview. And she started off the interview talking about her plans for the future, moving back to Seattle, but her only concern was not being reachable for the investigation if they needed her. And then she goes, okay, so now why I'm here. And she then told detectives that her attackers forced her to move Jayna's car before they sexually assaulted her. They told her that they would be watching her and would kill her if she tried to go to the police to talk to anyone. She even tells them she passed an officer in his patrol car on her way back to the store and was too scared to get his attention because they had her address. Go ahead and say it.
What a fucking idiot.
Like, what the actual fuck, dude?
Yeah.
So, the detectives keep going with this interview. And at one point, she looks at them and goes, "We've gone over this." And the detective responds, "Yeah. And every time we do, something new comes out. So I'm just trying to get it as straight as possible." So the detectives then brought Brittany's brother and sister in the room and started laying out all the inconsistencies in her story and the evidence that went along with it. And at this point, her sister just left the room. She could not do this anymore. But her brother remained.
Do you know if they were older or younger?
I believe I think Brittany's the baby.
Okay.
She's one of the younger siblings. These are older siblings.
Mm-hmm.
So after a bit, the detectives took her brother in the hallway and asked if he could possibly help to get the truth out of her. And so he went in and he looks at her and goes, "Should I even ask you if you did this or not?"
Oh.
And she said that she didn't want to talk about it here.
Oh.
And he told Brittany, "I'm going to do everything I can to help you, but you have to tell me what happened. Was it a fight? You can plead insanity if you..." He said, "You can't plead insanity. You tried to cover it up." He goes, "Did she accuse you of shoplifting?" And Brittany just grunts, "I didn't take anything." And she keeps repeating she hadn't stolen anything. She was good. She just kept saying to him, "I didn't steal anything. I was good." And she... So at first, we're like, "Big brother coming in." And then I'm like, "Sir," because he's like, "I'll get you the help. Do you need an attorney? Was it an accident? Was it a fight?" Like, if it was a fight, like, I don't know if he's trying to help her or if he's trying to help the detectives get the answer, but he's very like, "Go, big brother." And oh God, please stop talking during the whole time. But
It was probably in the denial stage.
yeah, like coming in and out of it.
Yeah.
And so the detectives come back in, and eventually Brittany just goes, "I want to go home." And the detectives responded, "Just tell us what happened and you can go home." Brittany was arrested during this interview, and she was charged with the first-degree murder of Jayna Murray. And
First.
the news broke during a vigil being held for Jayna. And it came as a complete shock to the entire community because everybody still thought Brittany was a victim.
Mm-hmm.
It had only been 1 week since the attack. And we're arresting Brittany. And for the whole... Yeah. So...
I'm surprised they gave her first, though.
Oh, you're about to find out why they gave her first.
Okay.
So let's talk about the evidence
Mm-hmm.
that contradicts Brittany's versions of events.
Mm-hmm.
And let me tell you, there is a lot.
Okay.
So let's start with all of Brittany's injuries being superficial.
Okay.
Yeah, why?
You just keep getting like teary.
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay.
I just really hate this bitch.
Okay.
Brittany's injuries being superficial.
Yeah.
All of them. All of them.
Did she
Down
do
to the
them?
way she's tied up. Okay?
Yeah.
So let's talk about this. We have hands above our head, tied to
Not
nothing,
tied
just
against-
zip tied. We have your feet tied, just zip tied. Zip ties came from the store. Literally from the store. Laying on her back, so she could have easily sat up and untied and done everything at any point. Detectives point this out to her. All of the blood from her injuries was dripping straight down. Like,
So she was standing.
Yeah. As if she was standing and walking around and doing things instead of laying down where the blood should have gone this way for hours. But instead it went this way.
Isaac Newton would be so proud.
I know. Look at these detectives go. Let's go back to those no injuries on her back.
It was like
her head.
Newton, right?
Yes, it was.
Genius.
There's broken glass all over the store.
Yeah.
There's stuff everywhere. And she was dragged to the back room. She was also sexually assaulted with a hanger on top of all of this stuff. But we have 0 injuries to our back.
Yeah.
At all. And that no evidence of sexual assault, which was the biggest part of her entire thing. Oh, her leggings were cut in the crotch. That was her other thing. Both of their leggings were cut in the crotch. Jayna and Brittany's.
Ew.
Yes. So, this would mean that she murdered Jayna and then moved her car, came back in, cut herself up, tied herself up, and then laid there until the police showed up. Girl.
I have a question. Hold on.
Go ahead.
Do you think any of the cuts on her may have actually been from Jayna fighting back? Because if she had that many
no, because they were
wounds,
all superficial.
even on her
They
forehead?
think the head wound.
Okay.
But yeah, we'll get into that.
I'm just
Yes,
saying,
there's probably
if
some of them might be.
I was gonna say, if she fought that hard to the point where there was 7?
150 defense wounds.
Okay, so half of them.
105 defensive wounds.
Something along those lines. Like a third of them are all defensive wounds. I have no doubt in my mind if she fought that hard, she probably got some licks in. I'm sure of it. I'm sure
probably a few of them, yeah. So next up, let's go back to them bloody shoe prints.
Yeah.
The 2 different prints.
Yeah.
Okay, so one being a 14, one being a 6.5 to a 7.
Yeah.
Well, Brittany is a 6.5 to a 7. And at one point, those larger shoe prints are actually on top of the smaller shoe prints. So there's the smaller shoe print and then an exact large shoe print on top of it, walking the same path. And the larger shoe prints just walk up to a sink and stop. That's it. They don't walk away from the sink. They don't go anywhere else. They stop. And so the police were like, did they take off the shoes? Did they wash them? Mm-hmm. What happened? This is where the homeless man came into it. Okay. Took the shoes off, whatever. So then they went to Rachel, the manager, and said, hey, shoe prints. We found these size 14 shoes in the store. They're cleaned up and put on a shelf. But the tread matches these shoe prints that we found that are bloody. And Rachel goes, oh, those are the store shoes. We keep those in here because they're 14, so anybody can slide into them. And when we need to alter leggings or workout pants, they already know how they're going to look. So basically, Brittany went ahead and took these shoes and walked over hers and then made other ones to make it look like there were 2 attackers. And the box cutter used to cut Brittany up from the store, the wrench, hammer, knife, rope, zip ties, and merchandise peg all came from the store. Nothing used in the attack came from outside the store. Not even that rope. And it just made it so unlikely for it to be a random attacker.
Yeah. Because, that's what I'm going to do if I'm going to go attack someone. I'm not going to bring anything with me because they're obviously going to have everything that I need.
Nothing. Not even a knife to hold somebody for robbery. At gonna walk anything.
In. I'm here. Are you guys ready to be robbed?
Yes.
Okay.
Essentially. So investigators also uncovered more information about the events that occurred before Brittany and Jayna closed the store that night.
Okay.
So if you remember, Brittany was originally fired from another Lululemon for buying more with her discount than she was allowed.
Yes.
Now at the Bethesda store, she was being suspected of stealing already.
Oh my gosh.
And on March 11th,
you can't control yourself for a few months.
Have you worked retail before?
Yes.
Okay, so when you're working retail and you close up at the end of the night, everybody's bags get checked. Bag check. And so this happened that night. And Jayna saw a pair of leggings in Brittany's bag and had a tag on it. And she asked Brittany for the receipt, and she said that she didn't have it, and that she had bought them earlier in the day. And so Jayna called that coworker up and was like, "Hey, did you sell these?" And that coworker was like, "No." So Jayna had called Rachel and just let her know. And Rachel was like, "We'll deal with this tomorrow." Jayna did not know Brittany overheard that.
Mm.
So this is where first degree comes in.
Okay.
Because Brittany lured her back to the store.
So they did actually leave the
Yes,
store.
they left the store.
So did she make those phone calls like by her, like
Yep,
on her,
so she
her
called
car or
she
something?
called the coworker and said, "Hey, I need Jayna's number. I forgot my Metro card. I need to get back in." Sent her the number. She called Jayna. They met back at the store. And so that's where we left till trial.
Wow. Okay.
Trial began on October 26th, 2011. It lasted 8 days. And prosecution...
8 days long?
Yeah.
Wow.
Prosecution laid out how after Brittany overheard Jayna on the phone with Rachel about the leggings, she knew that she was going to be fired for this, and so she came up with the plan to get Jayna back into the store alone. And when Jayna wouldn't back down about the stolen leggings, Brittany resorted to brutally attacking Jayna, and then spent the next few hours covering up the crime scene to make it look like a robbery, moving Jayna's car so Rachel wouldn't see it as she walked into work, then tying herself up and waiting hours to be found. And they ended their opening statements with, "Killed her over a pair of leggings."
Because, of course, murder is better than being robbed
or being fired for $100 pair of fucking leggings.
Yep.
So the defense tried to counter this by saying, okay,
Insanity plea.
So listen, the defense shocked everybody because in the beginning they said Brittany didn't plan or lure Jayna back into the store. An argument broke out and she just snapped. She went into a blind rage and didn't know what she was doing. The defense basically stands up there and goes, she killed her. But she didn't plan it, so it's fine. She snapped.
This sounds so familiar.
Yeah. Who'd I kill?
Not you.
Oh, Letitia!
Was that who I was thinking of?
I don't know.
Someone who I'm thinking that they were like, yeah, I absolutely did this, but Montgomery.
Yeah, Adam Montgomery. I didn't kill her. But I did everything else. Yeah, so basically her defense was she killed her, but she couldn't help it. Because blind rage and she just snapped.
Right.
Oh, geez, sorry, my bad. And luckily the jury bought absolutely none of it.
Mm-hmm.
And after deliberating for only 21 minutes...
No fucking way.
They deliberated for 21 minutes. On November 2nd, 2011, Brittany was found guilty of first-degree murder.
What a life. 21 minutes, man.
And before sentencing, Jayna's family submitted a request that Brittany nor her family ever be allowed to reap the monetary benefits of any books, movies, or media spawned from the crime.
I love them.
Yeah. Love
Good on them. They're just like, we don't know if it's going to, but we assume it's going to.
And it did. Like, obviously.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Is there a Netflix special yet?
No. Well, there's just the Snapped episode, and then there's I think Oxygen, and Oxygen is Snapped. So yeah, they have the Snapped episode.
Nice.
And on January 27th, 2012, Brittany was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The judge called her one hell of a liar and told her after every blow, she had a chance to think about what she was doing.
Yeah?
331. Jesus Christ.
It's a lot of chances.
That's a lot of chances.
And especially because she probably had to get up, walk over to get another item, walk over and get another item, walk over and get
yeah,
Ugh, okay.
But then On June 10th, 2014, Brittany filed an appeal.
That bitch.
Basically stating that the interviews she did with police shouldn't have been allowed in court, the ones at the hospital or her house, because she was a victim during those.
Oh.
Also, her interviews at the police station because she was never Mirandized. And then, testimony from the police officer at the hospital about the cut on her hand looking like a wound you get when your hand is slipping down from a knife stabbing someone, stating he wasn't a medical professional, so he couldn't make this claim. This is what her appeals were based on. And in April 29th of 2015, the court upheld the initial ruling. And imagine a steak knife or like a fruit paring knife.
I'm just trying to figure out how she was holding it for if her hands. I'm sorry, I'm still really on this. This is in my head.
Well, okay, because you're gonna have sweat, you're gonna have blood, and it's just gonna
I'm
get.
just trying to figure out how she was holding it because where was it like?
So it's like it's what runs. If you're stabbing, if you slide down,
Are you going to go get me a knife? Yeah.
Her ADHD brain is not working. So while our producer's grabbing a knife,
me a weapon, Jackie.
She is. I'm going to talk about
please continue.
The Jayna Murray Foundation. Jayna's family created this, and it promotes the interests and passions that enrich Jayna's life by making them available to others in hopes of similarly enriching their lives. The foundation will have a scholarship program that is designed to help assist qualified individuals in having access to the same programs in which Jayna participated and which played an important role in making her the special person that she was. The programs in which Jayna participated and which will receive funds for the benefit of qualified individuals from the Jayna Murray Foundation will include, but not be limited to, St. Louis University Madrid Study Abroad Program, Semester at Sea, George Washington University, Johns Hopkins University, and Camp Kanakuk. Don't quote me on that. It's Kanakuk.
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 I don't know.
But go follow the Facebook page. It will be linked in the show notes, and along with it's to be updated fundraisers that happen for the foundation.
Okay.
And there's also an in memory of Jayna page as well.
Wait. What happened with the appeal?
I said that she lost her appeal.
I was distracted by the knife.
You were distracted by the knife.
Thank you.
You're welcome. But now we have a knife. So
we can't have the knife on screen though.
Okay, well, Sam's going to look over there and try to figure out her life on the knife because she can't figure out how it works.
Genius. Okay.
Now are you with it?
I understand.
Okay.
Thank you.
She's not understanding how the blade is facing this way and you're holding it and your hand can slip and the blade slices there.
It's like you're holding it like this and not...
She's trying to stand instead.
I was trying to...
All right, Bender from Futurama trying to...
I was trying to shank, you know?
You're trying to shank. We trying to stab. Oh, God. Not again.
One moment while we regather ourselves. Thank you.
So, going back to June 24th of 2011. So this is a few months after the attacks. Attacks were in March. We're in June.
Yep.
So,
Okay.
March 11th, we are now June 24th. Okay. The Lululemon store on Bethesda Road was reopened.
Holy shit, they did that fast.
Yeah, I was hella shocked when I heard that. But then I remembered retail is retail.
Especially Lululemon.
Yeah.
High-end bitches.
We also have to remember that Jayna had a passion for Lululemon. She loved it. Okay. And her family said that she wouldn't have wanted the store to close. And it's what Lululemon did for Jayna that makes the reopening kind of a good thing. So they installed this giant... So if you, like... Stores when they have the glass up at the top above the door and then the window glass here.
Yes.
And then you have like the door here.
Okay. Yes.
So they did all of this in stained glass and through here and it said like love through it and it was Jayna's stained glass wall. It was in her memory and that's what they did for her. And her family just loved it. They thought it was an amazing tribute to her and a way to remember her and a way of making the store beautiful and not the image that it was. And
did they finally get cameras?
I hope so. And eventually in 2017, they ended up moving locations of that Lululemon to another location, but they gave that entire stained glass windowing to Jayna's family.
Oh, that's nice.
And so that's really awesome that
That is
didn't
nice.
get destroyed. They took the window paneling out and gifted it to her family. And so we do have a little bit that came out of it, but
We should go see what's there.
so that one's not, I don't know where they have the stained glass. I want to know what's in the place of that now.
I'm assuming normal glass, but I want to know.
No, like the Lululemon's not there anymore.
I know, but what is?
Oh, we should go. Okay, road trip.
I don't want to drive.
So, from her family, Jayna was a beautiful soul who lived life like an adventure. In her short time, she touched so many lives and did what she loved every day of her life. And Jayna is missed by many, but her family asks you to keep her memory alive by always taking the adventure. Almost didn't make it.
You're doing great, sweetie.
I know. Sorry, that was all. I'm okay.
You're okay.
But yeah. So first of all, not to make light of this, but that coworker you fucking hate, don't trust him.
The coworker
Just
that
coworker
I don't
you
like.
don't like. Just don't trust him.
I can physically feel myself change every time they walk by my office.
Ugh.
I know.
I'm happy I don't work with people like that anymore.
I rarely see this person, so it's okay.
That is okay.
But all my other coworkers love them.
But yeah, so Jayna was. I like to think that all murders are unavoidable in some level, but I feel like Jayna's especially was just unnecessary. And why? Over getting caught over leggings? Get fired, honey.
I really hope those Apple workers, after they fucking found out, I hope
They
think about those sounds every fucking night.
right. Like,
I understand
all of that.
I understand that like they had nothing to do with it, but how?
Like, and it, especially like pushing your ear to the wall multiple times.
Yeah. Ugh, again, I'm nosy.
Yeah.
Again, my ass would have walked the fuck over there.
I'd have been knocking on the
to see-
door. I'd have been like,
Absolutely.
"What?"
Especially if you're hearing screaming like that, I'd break a goddamn window. But I'm also a fighter. I'm not a flighter or a freezer. I'm a fighter. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I would love to say I'm a fighter, but we can be real honest. I'm gonna be a freezer.
Probably.
Unless my kid's with me, then I'm a fighter. But if I'm by myself, help.
That's why you have me.
I
I'm
know.
the mean friend.
See? Actual ride or dies.
I'm the mean friend.
Our producer's about to quit on us if we say that one more time.
Probably. It's all out of love, though.
It is.
But no, seriously.
So, don't kill your coworkers.
Don't kill anyone.
Please get fired instead.
Just don't kill people anyway.
Just be a good human.
Yeah. It's not that hard.
But we do have some fun and exciting things for you guys coming up. We have a website.
Yay.
It's done and complete. Hopefully you will have been on it by the time you hear this. But if you're not on our Facebook, go follow it. But also, go check out our website. It's justiceforpodcast.com. And
Trademarked.
yeah, working on it.
We bought the rights to it.
The domain. So go check that out. It links to everything. All of our podcast platforms, YouTube, Facebook, all the social medias. And it also is a much better, easier way for you guys to go and see all the pictures.
Yes.
You can click on it in the show notes and it'll link you to it.
Yes, absolutely.
Did we get anything you want to add?
I don't have anything to add. Did we get justice?
We did get justice for Jayna. We got justice quick for Jayna. We got justice
minutes.
21 minutes of justice is what we got. We did. And the foundation with her family and helping other kids like Jayna and help them pursue their passions. And on that Facebook page, they do these little things where they sell different things as a fundraiser just to help fund this foundation.
That's cool.
So make sure you go follow it. I'll have all the pages linked as always. And yeah, just keep on being good humans.
All right. Love you guys.
Okay. Bye.